on the computer. All right, check on that. All right, I don't see anything listed for demos. I'll jump on into planning breakdown. I don't think there's a whole lot to share my screen on, but I'll do that anyway. So looking at add rule mode support for custom CI variables, and I know we had some questions from Alex about this in our planning meeting. Oh, I've got our videos here. And we were still kind of going through solution validation. So I got feedback from solution validation, shared a note here just today with a link to the solution validation. Everyone was able to complete the task for this particular epic. There were I think some questions about, or I guess kind of watching them go through the flow, some stumbled a bit on finding the custom key creation step. But that seems like something maybe we could improve on in the future, that it was still achievable and everyone rated it well, rated the task well. So I think we're good to move forward. This is ultimately just updating the rule mode support, just the front end UI aspects. This is already available in YAML. And we would have an option to add the default variable options, or you can create a custom key and create a kind of key pair value that would overwrite the project CI/CD file order settings. So yeah, I think we're good to go on that one. Just wanted to highlight it here. Any questions or feedback?
Is it clear where we get those predefined variables from?
Yeah, one second, let me pull it back up. Yeah, so if you take a look at, no, it's not that. It's this doc page. This maps back to, like, if you're using a SAST, if you're setting it up for a SAST, or in this case, this is DAST. But I think these variables map to at least a SAST. Maybe they do for DAST as well. But if you're taking a look at the SAST docs, you'll see the existing variables, default variables here. Let's see, maybe ant home applies across as well. No, yeah, we're only looking at SAST. And I wonder, I haven't looked at DAST. Maybe I can look at what variables are listed here. And maybe that's something we could clarify a little bit better. Okay, here we go. So I think we'd have to map back to each of the docs pages. Is that helpful? Or if you have other questions,
yeah,
we can.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, if there's more we can do there, we can kind of clarify which variables, or at least link to the docs pages. Good question. All right, anything else? All right, then we can move to other discussions. Andy, you're up.
Yes. Yeah, so I also added this to our retro issue. So yeah, no need to discuss it here. Just can also verbalize it. Yeah, so I sometimes stumble across our class names and variable names, and this sometimes makes it hard to come up with good commit messages, like security, orchestration, policy, rule, schedule. It's a pretty long name. So yeah, I was wondering if we can find a way to make shorter names, and I also created an issue just now. I can add it to the doc as well. Yeah, that we can use as a spike or just to collect ideas. Yeah, so looking forward to get some feedback on that. I'll add the link to it right now.
Cool. Yeah, that is a bit of a mouthful.
Yep. Yeah, and that's all I had to add here.
All right. The only other item I had here, so I had a coffee chat with Marcus, and we were talked a little bit about testing or test environments, and I've been kind of curious about this as well. Like if we have a particular support issue or customer request, and we're trying to validate how some of the behavior works, it can be quite a lift to just get an environment that is properly set up. I have like my own demo environment, but what can happen is that is in a certain state, and I need to get it into completely different state. So I have to would have to completely undo things or remove things, and so it throws things off. So I think it would be really helpful if it was possible to just like spin up something that has everything in a starting state. Like maybe we have a certain structure where we have subgroups, development projects, like in the proper structure to be able to quickly set up a new policy and test behavior. So I don't know, maybe that exists. I haven't seen any like demos yet on how we're using our current tests, but that could be interesting to see in the future. So no explicit ask here, but thought it would be good just to raise and see if others are having similar challenges.
Yeah, I had this problem too. When I try to validate something, it's usually there's a lot of setup involved. There's a lot of steps to set everything up. And sometimes it's not clear what exactly is needed for it. So I think we had some test projects in our group. Yeah, but I think they having a better structure for this, and maybe like some kind of documentation to show what project does what, and that will be great.
Yeah, I think the tests that we have, which are extremely useful, but I think they're kind of like unit tests, or I think we're working towards end-to-end tests, but they're part of the pipeline. Like we're checking to make sure nothing changed, versus it's not necessarily usable to go and do like a manual, test to test particular behavior per se. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just kind of the sense I got. Is like if I want to just like spin up an entirely new group, some subgroups, some projects, some security policy projects already created. Like I don't think there's anything that exists today to be able to just to kind of get to us like phase one, and then let's go create this new policy that we wanted to validate. You'd kind of have to go and kind of figure out what state you're in right now, undo it, redo a policy, and it takes a lot of time to get there. So
I just found that there's a sandbox group which has some test project. Yeah, and the projects are named like test case 1. So
right, okay.
I think it's not super, and also the README is not. Seems like it's just the default README, so it doesn't explain. So it seems like this are some test cases, but it doesn't say what test cases are tested. But maybe that's the starting point.
Yeah, I think this is a starting point. I think Alan could speak to it a lot further. I just wonder if it's kind of a different case it's in and of itself than what I'm throwing out there, but maybe they'll pair together at some point here. I'm not sure.
So these sandbox repo corresponds to the test cases that we did for the OKRs. So there is a separate repo where we have all the videos recorded and all the steps you need to take to accomplish certain scenario, like for example, to set up a secret detection. And so Andy, you were referring to this sandbox with test cases, and these were used to record those videos. But yeah, I think there is no specific structure that we can use for our manual testing. And yeah, I agree this would be helpful. In some cases, it's not so easy to just create a project, do a few clicks, and have the situation ready for our test. So
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks for that context. That is interesting because I know I do see some of these changes were made a month ago, 3 weeks ago. So that is a good question, is if as we're developing new features, are we adding back the test cases into this project? I know there was an initiative there, but are we consistent in also just adding the individual test cases? I think that will be important if we start adding new features and things start to break. So that's, yeah. So there's definitely two threads here to pull on, I think. Cool. Any final thoughts on this discussion topic, or any other, I guess, other topics?
Nope.
All right. Everyone having a good day?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, it's good to see everyone's faces, and take care. Have a good rest of your week. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
you too.
You too.
Same to you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.